The Windsor family's pathological fixation on Harry's potential return to the UK reeks of a toxic blend of control, manipulation, and retrograde institutional thinking. William and Charles seem pathologically unable to accept that Harry has carved out an independent life. Their relentless scrutiny of the Sussexes' every move, from visa speculations to imagined reconciliation scenarios, reveals a deeply unhealthy obsession that speaks volumes about their own insecurities. The idea of potentially deporting Harry over past minor indiscretions is not just illegally absurd but morally reprehensible, showcasing the royal manipulation form to members who refuse to be controlled or do things according to their expectations. Their transparent hopes that Trump's administration might provide a mechanism for Harry's return unmask a disturbing willingness to weaponize political machinery against a family member, all while hypocritically preaching familial unity. It's a grotesque display of institutional power desperately trying to reassert their blatant control over someone who has categorically rejected their suffocating narrative. The Windsor clan's pathological obsession with Harry's exile reveals a stunning level of familial dysfunction as Prince William and King Charles relentlessly pursue avenues to forcibly get back their Prince Harry. When will the Windsors ever let go? I mean, it's been 5 years and they're still clinging onto the lives of the Sussexes who left their toxic cage. How hard is it for them to let the Sussexes embrace new traditions away from them? It is so absurd that they now want to use Trump to get Harry back. The Duke of Sussex is not coming back to that toxicity, and the earlier they accept, the better. Harry cannot accept what happened years back repeat itself again in the name of pursuing royal duties. The constant scrutiny, the anguish, and let's not forget the constant racial harassment is something the Sussexes would not want again in their life. It is so brave of Harry to choose his family first and not some failing monarchy whose only interest is in power and wealth day in, day out. Or is it like William wants Harry back to the UK so that he can help him with work? Somewhat ridiculous, folks. These orchestrated moves by the royal family will never work on the lives of Harry, Meghan and their kids. I suppose a number of times they have been intent on always prioritizing their familial needs first over everything. To them, their mental health and well-being have always been primal. William and Charles should focus on their already falling monarchy, or rather how to manipulate the remaining members within the institution, but halt daydreaming about the Sussexes making their way back to their humiliation palace. The Duke and the Duchess of Sussex are not interested anymore in waving from balconies. That's a past to them, and there's no more turning back, no matter what attempts the Windsors put in place to relentlessly scrutinize them to get them back. Their calculated attempts to leverage Donald Trump's administration for Harry's deportation expose a breathtaking display of institutional malice, driven by a toxic blend of wounded pride and institutional control. Despite Harry's attempts to maintain familial connections, the royals seem hell-bent on publicly humiliating him and scrutinizing his every move. The Windsors' so-called olive branch efforts are nothing more than a thinly veiled attempt to manipulate Harry back into their suffocating royal orbit, revealing a pathological obsession with controlling a son who has rightfully chosen his own path. Despite claims of wanting to heal the rift, their actions betray a calculated strategy focused solely on Harry's potential return to the UK, rather than genuine familial reconciliation. Royal sources are transparently spinning narratives about that Harry is desperate to reconnect, when in reality the Windsors, particularly William and Charles, are the ones desperately clinging to a fantasy of reeling their prince back into their restrictive royal machinery. Their fixation on Harry's potential deportation and scrutiny of his every move demonstrates a persistence that speaks volumes about their inability to respect his autonomy, instead treating him like a chess piece to be maneuvered rather than a son to be genuinely understood and supported. They failed to protect Harry and his family from relentless scrutiny while in the royal family, but now they are the number one people desperately showing how bad they need them back to shape their straining and already failing monarchy. Let it sink into their heads that the Sussexes are no longer their pawns. Gone are the days when they could humiliate the Sussexes and get away with it by still seeing them in their toxic cage. Right now we are in a new era, and they should embrace the change. They should stop wasting their energy on agendas that can't stabilize their falling monarchy. Instead, channel that energy to avenues that can rise their toxic gates and its remaining members. They should leave Harry and Meghan alone. The Sussexes are determined to remain as far from British soil as possible. Their purchase of a Portuguese property represents more than a real estate investment. It's a good idea that they have a home in Portugal, a place they can reside away from the suffocating royal machinery that continues to weaponize archaic immigration threats and personal scrutiny. Despite that, Harry and Meghan are rich and can live in whatever part of the continent or any country they want. They can do their business there and still thrive well. They can be welcomed anywhere. William and Charles appear pathologically fixated on controlling Harry, repeatedly attempting to leverage potential political dynamics, like the speculative Trump deportation narrative, as mechanisms of familial control. The repeated media barrages, leaked insider sources, and performative discussions about Harry's potential return reveal a deeply dysfunctional monarchy. Harry's clear preference to establish a life literally anywhere else with Meghan and their children speaks volumes about the toxic environment from which they've deliberately distanced themselves, demonstrating that their geographical and emotional separation is not just a choice, but a necessary act of self-preservation against an institution more interested in manipulation than meaningful reconciliation. Harry may only want to know about Charles's health, but not really rejoining the royal family again. They have tasted peace and freedom from the suffocating royal life, and they would not want to get themselves in the relentless glare of the royal spotlight anymore. William and King Charles appear consumed by an almost neurotic desire to scrutinize every move of the Sussex couple, treating their estranged family members like chess pieces to be strategically positioned, rather than human beings with autonomous lives. They should accept their decision to pursue life in a different direction and away from them. It's not like they left without valid reasons. Their total imagination is absurd. Harry is influential and has connections, so anywhere they decide to do life, they can as well still thrive well, that I don't doubt. It's bizarre that they are obsessed with Harry going back. It's totally showing how William is not fully capable of resurrecting their dying monarchy. And they now need Harry and Meghan, whom they once looked down upon. Wonders, they lost a treasure for sure. The reason they are still crying daily about the Sussexes, instead of blatantly scrutinizing them, they should focus on their strained and failed monarchy. Harry and Meghan have achieved more and now are comfortable with their lives. They have great influence, they are rich, they have established foundations, and this is what they value in terms of progress in their lives. I don't think they miss anything about the toxic monarchy. They have already vested a positive mind towards their endeavours, unlike William and Charles with their punitive mindset. Their apparent eagerness to potentially leverage Trump's administration for Harry's deportation over past indiscretions demonstrates a shockingly punitive mindset that exposes the royal family's archaic and toxic power structures. By continuously attempting to diminish Harry and Meghan's agency through media manipulation and legal maneuvering, the Windsors reveal more about their own insecurities and desperate grip on narrative control than they do about the subjects of their obsession. This relentless pursuit illustrates the toxic dynamics that drove Harry and Meghan away from an institution more concerned with maintaining appearances than nurturing genuine familial bonds.